So hi everyone, and welcome to our final installment of the LSCDS Coffee Break Spotlights. My name is Kyla. I'm the current lead of the LSCDS writing team. And today it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Stefanie Mak, who's an U of T alumnus here to chat with us. Stefanie did her PhD with Justin Nodwell in the Department of Biochemistry, and she's currently working as the Program Manager of Product Management Operations at Stem Cell Technologies in Vancouver, BC. So Stefanie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Would you mind starting by just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what your current professional role is?
Yeah, so I'll start with what my current professional role is and then sort of work my way backwards, I guess. So as you mentioned, Kyla, my job title is Program Manager, Product Management Operations, and that's quite a mouthful, but in a nutshell, I create and develop programs, processes, tools, and resources that help product managers work more efficiently and effectively. And so I collaborate with product managers and other stakeholders within the company to identify operational bottlenecks and opportunities for improvement, and then finding solutions to address them. I'm still quite new to my role as I joined in early 2022. And so I'm still learning more and more about this role, but I would say that my role involves strategic thinking, collaboration, problem solving, and change management. And so far, it's been a really fun experience. Before my role at Stem Cell, I was an education program manager at the UBC Center for Blood Research. So I was working with scientists at all different stages, developing programs that are research related or career and professional development focused to help scientists be successful in their current and future careers. And then previously, I dabbled in science communication and technology transfer shortly after I finished my PhD at the University of Toronto. So I've moved across a lot of different industries, but what I really enjoy doing is helping people be successful in whatever they do.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool how you've moved through these different positions, and now you're at Stem Cell Technologies. I was wondering, just based off of the fact that you were saying you used to work at UBC in kind of education management, it seems like a pivot to then go into more biotech sphere and work in more project management. So how did that transition come about? Like, were you looking to pivot your career, or did an opportunity just arise and you thought it would be well suited for you?
So when I was at UBC working as the education program manager, I was really interested in the field of career education and being a career practitioner. But I also realized that I had a different set of skills that I could apply to different industries, not just within career education. And so I was at UBC for almost 4 years and started thinking about what my next step could look like. Did some career and professional development and started exploring what other opportunities I could participate in. And so this particular opportunity at Stem Cell came up. I applied for the job and landed. Luckily, it was at the right place at the right time, which I find is what has pretty much happened throughout my career so far, is that I was at a time where I wanted to find a new challenge and a new opportunity, and came across the right position that interested me, and went through the interview process and was successful. But I think there's the saying, luck is preparation and opportunity or something like that. And so I think, being prepared and doing the work and the research and building those skill sets and experience definitely helps. And then combining that with the right opportunity, I think, it's a good recipe for success.
Yeah, totally. I think it's cool you said that you were doing professional development within your role before you got this new position. Like, it goes to show it never ends, like the professional development and the growth in terms of thinking about your career and what you want to do next.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess you said you always, across all of your different roles and industries, you always have been interested in helping people, do their jobs better, their careers better, whatever it is their current goal is. So how did you kind of decide that might be one of the overarching things that you look for in a career? Like, were there moments throughout grad school that you thought that pivoted you towards a certain career, or did you kind of just take opportunities as they came along?
It was mostly the latter. I think what really changed my career outlook was two moments. So one was when my PhD supervisor landed a new role and moved his lab from McMaster to a U of T. And at that time, I was halfway through my program. And the second moment was when I realized that I didn't want to be a bench scientist as a career. So initially, when I joined grad school, I had plans to be an R&D scientist working in pharma or biotech industry. But those two moments, which happened sort of shortly, or at least the second moment when I realized I wasn't interested in being a bench scientist anymore, happened shortly after my supervisor moved to Toronto. And it made me realize that I needed to plan ahead and be more agile and adaptable. And so that's when I started getting more involved in extracurricular activities. So attending skills development workshops, volunteering with science outreach organizations, taking what else did I do? I was TAing, I was volunteering at different events like the LSCDS, with the LSCDS organization. I was trying case competitions. So anything that I could do to understand what my career options were beyond being a bench scientist. And it's really helped shaped my my career path. There wasn't necessarily one specific career or job that I was aiming for. I realized what I liked and didn't like in terms of my values, both at work and outside of work, and realized that one of my core values is really helping people be successful. So I try to find opportunities that would help me do that.
Nice. That's a really cool answer. I didn't think about the fact that with your supervisor moving labs in the middle of your PhD, that's kind of a unique challenge that not a lot of students would have to face, of like moving cities and probably deciding what course of action you're going to take if you're going to move cities or not. So it's cool that had an impact on your kind of mindset.
For sure.
So I guess you gave me a nice segue there because you just brought up the LSCDS. So do you mind telling us a little bit about what you did with the LSCDS while you were a grad student?
Sure. I found out about the LSCDS actually through my lab mate, who was at that time part of the networking reception team. And he encouraged me to volunteer as part of the networking reception team, and decided to try things and be curious and open-minded about things. And I was one of the members, I think, for 2 years, organized reception, where I invited different science professionals to be career mentors for grad students and postdocs.
Okay, cool. And so did you, was the networking reception then probably the event that you were most involved with?
Yeah, it was. And it was a great learning experience for me because it gave me confidence in cold emailing people, allowed me to build event organization skills and work as a team and work with different team members, and also practice my networking skills, which really helped when the time came to do my job hunt and career and more career exploration.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for networking things like that, it's really best to just throw yourself into a situation, because otherwise you just don't end up doing it. It always just stays on your kind of hypothetical to-do list of things you should do.
Yeah, for sure. And I realized that for myself, practice makes progress. So I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't say before joining, the LSCDS, I was the most comfortable in, speaking with people who I don't know and trying to figure out how they can, why they should participate in events and that kind of persuasion and communication skills. I think that, being part of the LSCDS, especially with the networking team, really helped build that confidence, and I feel more comfortable speaking with different types of people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's been a different experience in the last couple of years doing everything virtually, but it's still been really good. I guess so. Networking is one you just mentioned and talked about. Is there anything else in terms of a skill or something that you learned outside of the lab and all of your involvements, like with GMCA and LSCDS, that you find was really helpful for your launching your career? Any other soft skills that you don't really learn doing bench science that you thought were good to develop outside of the lab environment?
There's a lot. I'm trying to think. Maybe one thing that I've realized is that I maybe didn't get working in a lab was thinking more strategically about certain things. So thinking about a particular different perspectives and trying to make those connections. So I think being part of the GMCA and understanding the business side of things, especially the business side of science, even taking a patent law course, understanding the legal side of science, I think helped me grow as a scientist, in terms of understanding the applications of research and innovation through a legal perspective and through a business development perspective. And that's one of the things that I would say is top of my mind in terms of skills that I've built outside of the lab.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be very helpful. GMC is an awesome resource. Okay, well, we're running out of time, so I do want to just finish with one question we've been asking everyone, which has been kind of fun, which is, if you were to go back and give yourself some advice for grad school, what advice would you give now that you have the perspective of, a few years working in industry?
Yeah, I think I would give myself two pieces of advice, if I could have more than one piece of advice. The first one would be to approach career and professional development like a scientist. And so I didn't realize I was doing this subconsciously until many years after grad school. And I think having that framework in mind would have been really helpful for me. So what do I mean about approaching career and professional development like a scientist. So I touched upon being curious and open-minded when it comes to career exploration and understanding what those options may look like. Doing that research to understand what those careers look like, either by reading job descriptions or attending career panels or networking with people, or doing informational interviews. You want to do that research and gather that data to help you analyze whether, you know, a particular career path fits with your values and your interests. And that reflection and, you know, we want to, you know, that reflection of that data, the analysis of the data, hopefully will, you know, give you an idea or conclusion of whether that's something that you want to pursue or not. And so, like the scientific method, you want to keep reiterating that process. So you want to keep repeating this until you've really narrowed down your career options. So that's one advice that I would give myself. And then the second piece of advice is being more proactive in my mental health and well-being, being kind to myself, and actually having a self-care plan before you start grad school. Looking back at my grad school experience, I didn't receive any major scholarships. I didn't publish a lot of papers. And my PhD was on the lengthier side because I had to switch research projects a few years during my program because my initial project didn't progress. And then I also had the lab move, moving from Hamilton to Toronto. So there were a lot of roadblocks, and I remember starting to compare myself with my peers who were landing major scholarships. They were publishing in high impact journals, and they were graduating much earlier than I was. And being in grad school can be an isolating and stressful experience. And I was being too hard on myself. And so I wish I told myself at that time to be kind to myself and to let go of the things that were beyond my control, and really not let those metrics define who I was as a scientist and as a person. And I wish that I had a self-care plan when I encountered difficult and challenging times, and I could follow that plan when and put things into perspective when, you know, when times were tough. And these are some of the things that I'm still trying to practice and trying to remind myself to be more proactive in my mental health, and also practicing self-compassion. So those are two key pieces of advice that I would give myself to make my grad school experience healthier and more enjoyable.
Wow, that was really awesome. Yeah, I think that, I mean, the first thing you said about the scientific method, that obviously is an analogy that grad students can relate to in terms of approaching career exploration, like very methodically. And yeah, totally. I think what you said in the second part about like your mental health and comparing yourself, that's like, it's hard not to do as a grad student, because we don't really have, you know, we don't have exams or things like that to test yourself along the way. So you kind of resort to looking at these other metrics and comparing yourself, but it's never a good thing, and it never ends well. So that's really good advice. And to have a plan, because we always feel like we don't have time to do anything, right? So like the thought of like, when am I going to sit down and make a plan for myself of, you know, what to do when things get hard? You just don't think you have time. So then when things are hard, then you don't know what to do. So that's really valuable advice.
Yeah, I think there's a certain point to perseverance and being burnt out. And I feel like, at least for myself, sometimes I don't realize when I'm sort of at that stage where I'm burning out or I'm already burnt out, and having that self-care plan, I think, would have helped.
Yeah, totally. Great. Well, thank you so much. This was really great. I think people will get a lot from it, and it was nice to hear from you and about your career path. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thanks.